Good morning. Have you missed my face? I've brought a friend along for the walk this morning. This massive cold sore that started on Friday, dropped in with the Black Friday sales, which worked out well for me because I could just post stories that didn't involve me and like extra head throbbing on the side of my face. Do you get cold sores? No, I probably get 2, maybe a year. And they're obviously like a lot of the time when someone's run down, but I'm definitely not run down. But I think the change of the seasons is part of it as well. Oh, and the other time I get them sometimes is if I have my top lip waxed, because I think it does something to the nerves. Anyway, I digress. Good morning. It's story time. Time to skip if you don't like my stories. So hopefully you're going to get 2 learnings out of this. But let me take you back to Sunday morning, when I received a message from one of my amazing clients, Charlotte, who I've been working with for 4 months now. She's having a little break to have a sunny escape over Christmas, and then we'll be back together again in January. And Charlotte is like one of my favourite and most inspiring people. She is a marketing expert in Web3 and the metaverse. I don't just work with birthy people, by the way, but I do work with a specific kind of person, and she's definitely it. Anyway, Charlotte sent me a message on her business coaching profile about the Trust Fall offer. Now, because she's one of my private clients, she's in the Trust Fall already. All my private clients get everything that I'm doing included. Anyway, she was like, this is such an amazing example of how building an engaged and loyal and invested community is so important in a business. And community is everything to me, absolutely everything. You'll always find me replying to people in the DMs. I say hello to every single person that follows me. Community is where it's at for me. And what she was saying was, from a marketing perspective, and also looking in the tech space in Web3 and NFTs, go and Google that. This is what the Trust Fall is, the concept of how I have been marketing and sharing the Trust Fall. Nobody knows what it is, but they feel a level of trust that if it's coming from this trusted place, i.e. me, that it'll be good, that it'll be valuable, and that it'll be worthwhile. Now, there's another element that I'm working on within there in terms of activating the self-trust of the people that jump in, but that's not part of this story. So she sent me a message and she shared on a story like, this is like excellent best practice of how you can build a community that are really engaged and loyal, and actually, even without a physical product or service to sell, you can sell them an idea. You can sell them a feeling. You can get them to buy into something that they don't even really fully understand what it is, but they trust that they're going to be taken on a really exciting and valuable adventure. Coming from someone who has like spent years in university and in her own professional development, like studying the way that marketing works and stuff, I was having a bit of a like, wow, like, who me moment. And she was like, yeah, this is it. This is, the people that Starbucks and places like that are trying to do things like this in their marketing. So I was like over the moon, basically, really, really pleased, so happy. And then obviously to top all that off, like 30 odd people had jumped into the Trust Fall with me. So like the whole thing was just this like beautiful confirmation of everything that was going on in my community. Ready to burst the bubble. So I went to the gym, and I finished my workout, and I was in the changing rooms, and I was picking up on some notifications, and I had some messages from a follower. To give you some context, I know this person. I don't know them very well, but I know who they are, I know their background, I know how they found me and how they've come to follow me. And this is somebody that actually has come into my DMs previously for support around some things. And I've done like some low level, like quick coaching in there, which I'm always happy to do, but like It's not a fucking free service, you know. Obviously, I am a business. Like, I do, this is my job, and I deserve to get paid for this amazing skill that I've got. So this person had had some free support from me, and there's lots of free support from me out there in the form of my masterclasses, my content, and that connection that I've got with people. And they'd appreciated it. But recently, they had seen that I had put my opinion out there about the chaotic nature of living in the Middle East. Now, for those of you that missed that story, I'm going to try and summarise it quick. I basically said we loved our time in the Middle East. It was an amazing adventure. There are a lot of myths about the Middle East, a lot of, you know, things out there about people not being tolerant, and it's bullshit. Like, the people are the warmest and most tolerant and open people that you can find. Like, I met some of the most amazing people there, and we loved our time there. Zero regrets. But it wasn't for us long term. And the regime and the administration is chaos. It's fucking chaos, and I stand by it. I'll die on that hill. It's chaos. They told me, and in that share, I also shared about the fact that my daughter, Hebe, is gay, and that was another contributing factor to not being able to stay there, because, as we know, it's not okay to be who you are, to love who you love in the Middle East. It just isn't, right? That's it. It might be in small pockets of individuals, but as far as this chaotic regime is concerned, it's not okay, and therefore it was never going to be somewhere that we could stay long term, because I am not having my children not being the fullest expression of who they are. How could I possibly sacrifice that for any kind of lifestyle or money when I won't do that for myself? So sorry, I'm out. This person was offended by this. They told me they felt let down by me, disappointed. And I know that disappointment is one of the most difficult emotions to navigate. But I told them, I'm so sorry you feel that way. And I left it at that. Didn't block them, they didn't unfollow me, and life moved on. Back to me in the gym. So, of course, this weekend it's been Black Friday, and so it's also been massive cold sore day. And I was like, I am just gonna, people know that I am a business and I'm gonna sell things. I'm gonna give value, but I'm entitled to fucking sell my stuff, and I'm gonna sell it. So if you don't want to listen to me selling stuff, fuck off now, basically. Anyway, ground yourself, Lisa. Right, let me take a breath. So, of course, I'd been talking about the trust fall and explaining what it is without explaining what it is, because that's the whole concept. The message that I received from this person was, can't you see that you are creating chaos? They said I was creating chaos. Sorry, they're mowing the lawn on the golf course. You are creating chaos. And then the next message was, this is a scam. They outright said that the trust fall was a scam. If you're in there, I'd love to know if you feel scammed. First of all, you're not going to know that until you're out the other side. And then at that point, you can decide. More details are going to go out anyway, and people get to decide whether they want to jump in, not knowing everything or not. That's the whole fucking point. But he said it was a scam. He said the no bullshit coach is bullshit. Well, that's not really trolling. Any normal person can handle that, but that's when things got dark. My response was, I'm really sorry that you feel that way. Now, I have actually talked about this to a couple of people, one-to-one clients and so on, because it was coming up. And someone said, why didn't you block him straight away? And I was like, I don't need, blocking is confirmation of being oh, I can't handle that in my mind, right? There's a point when blocking comes, and by the way, I did get blocked in the end. But at that point, I was like, what if I can learn something from this? What if I can get to see someone else's perspective, point of view, and maybe there's something valuable in there, so I'm going to listen. And I was like, I'm really sorry you feel like that. Now, anyone who knows me knows that means I am sorry that you feel like that, but this is my position. I'm not about to change that. I'm not apologising for my opinion or position, but I'm sorry that it's made you feel like that, or you feel like that. I can't make you feel anything. To which their response was, and at this point we're going to give away potentially the gender of this person, certainly the biology of them. Look at you sucking my dick. Look at you sucking my dick, because I said, I'm sorry you feel that way. He said, do you just say sorry to everyone? And I was like, I think something's been lost in translation somewhere, because I'm not actually apologising for me, I'm apologising that you feel that way. But the response was, look at you sucking my dick. I'm going to really try hard not to go on a feminist rant right now. It's hard though. So he then went on to tell me how, because obviously he's been watching me pretty closely for well over a year now. So he knows my story, the things that I share in my world, you know, in my trainings, in my website, in my content. He went on to tell me how I was a failure. You are a failure in marriage because you've been divorced. You are a failure as a parent. You have failed your daughter. I said, which one? The gay one? Or the one living her best life in Berlin? Which one have I failed? And he said, well, both really. We were starting to get a little glimpse into the things that were activating this person. Part of it was definitely rooted in homophobia. So I'd failed at my first marriage. I'd failed my children because they were gay, or at least one of them was anyway. And I'd failed in education because I hadn't got a degree, which obviously is the measure of success and intelligence. Listen to all these stories. Now, I could have gone in all barrels blazing because I know the context and the backstory to this person. But I was like, don't do it, Lisa. Don't do it. Don't do it. He also said that my insert rude words that I don't really need to repeat. No, in fact, I'm going to say it. He also said that my ugly, gay husband, I mean, he's attractive and I'm not, you know. Again, I feel like, is it because he's protesting a bit too much? Who knows? But my ugly gay husband was going to be leaving me anyway. And also the only reason that I get to be a coach and grow a business like this is because he's bankrolling me, apparently, which is really funny because literally earlier on the same day, we've been talking about at what point Keith might be able to go part-time or retire because of the success of my business. But anyway, that's a side note. I did obviously get to a point where I blocked him. But my initial reaction was like, be open-hearted about this, maybe you could learn. But then when it got super personal, and I was like, I'm not learning anything here, I'm just like listening to him project his insecurities and prejudice onto me, then it was like, okay, time to block. But like, what is the moral of this story? Oh, first of all, as well, somebody asked me, how did you feel in the moment? I was shaking. Like, I was shaking. I am unbothered now. Totally unbothered and neutral about it. But in the moment when it was happening, I was literally shaking. It was a testament to my nervous system flexibility and capacity, no joke, because I didn't go into attack mode, I didn't run away from it, I stayed in the situation and I like moved through it. When I did get to the point where I decided, right, enough's enough, I'm going to block him, I put my phone down, I took some deep breaths, I was in the ladies' changing room at the gym, I jumped up and I just really started to shake. I like shook all that negative energy, all that like intense, like, oh, adrenaline energy out of my body. I literally shook my arms, my legs, in my head, everything. And I was like, okay, I can feel that, I feel better now. And obviously I went home and I talked to Keith about it and blah, 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 all that's by the by. But what I wanted to share with you is the lesson. The two things that came out of that for me Well, probably loads more than 2, because I've just thought of a third because of the like nervous system capacity to just deal with it and not shut down or freeze or freak out and just move through it, and actually not even just go, I'm not listening to that. Just go, okay, I've got the capacity to listen to this. Maybe there's something in there for me. And then get to a point of like discernment where I realise there's nothing in here for me except toxicity, and then put the boundary in place, which was basically to block the person. The 2 things that I was thinking about this morning that I wanted to share with you that I've learned are the following. 2 things that are seemingly completely opposing can be true at the same time. In the morning, somebody told me, and a marketing expert told me, how the model of the trust fall was like an example of an excellent way of building an engaged and loyal community through giving them value, through service, through connection, through all of those things, through reputation, to the point that they will trust you so deeply that they'll jump into something when they even don't know what it is. That's going on in the tech space with NFTs and things like that. And she was like, this is amazing, Lisa. And that was like so like affirming to me, because this woman studied this stuff. She knows what she's talking about. So like that was true. And another person could stand in their truth, and this was true to him. If we can just put aside the fact that he then went down like the rape culture route with the fact that I was sucking his dick and things like that, you know. Let's just give him a pass on that for a second. In his mind, in his view, this thing that looked like best practice and an amazing community building was a scam. And that was true too, because that was his belief. It was true to him. Those 2 things, those 2 completely opposing things and opinions about the same situation were true. You know, and that's sometimes the case. And what that leads me on to is neutrality. Nothing has meaning. Nothing has meaning except for the meaning that you assign to it. I could have assigned so many different meanings to that conversation. I could have assigned so many different stories to what was going on there and allowed them to impact me. I need to change arm, it's aching. I could have allowed myself, my thoughts, to start making up stories about what that meant about me, about what I was doing, about what I've been creating, about the support that I offer. But I remained neutral. I remained neutral in the conversation initially, even though I was shaking and my body and my nervous system was fucking not neutral to it. And when I got to a point where I thought, I can't hold that neutrality anymore, I was like, okay, now I'm out. Now I'm out for my own safety. So take what you will from that. But what I want to say is, when you think you're right, it doesn't necessarily mean the other person is wrong. And when you're wrong, or when someone says you're wrong, it doesn't necessarily mean that the other person's right. Just because someone says something doesn't make it truth. 2 opposing things can be equally as true in the eye and the mind of the person that's, you know, running through that scenario. And neutrality is key. Make decisions from a place of neutrality in your nervous system and you'll always make better decisions, first of all, you know. And nothing has meaning except for the meaning that you give it. So for fuck's sake, choose a supportive meaning. So that's my story.